Thanks very much, Robert, for the invitation and for the chance to speak to this wonderful audience. Welcome everybody here, welcome everybody online. My name is Ivan Sitsko. I am a recovery assistant, and today I intend to tell you about my experience of working in a team that helps individuals with psychiatric disorders. I feel like I am at a psychiatrist's office. I have 15 minutes to tell you about myself and make you understand who I am and what I'm doing. So let me first tell you something about who and what I am. Because when I talk to people, I always ask them about what they like and what they pursue. And this is most important for me. I was born in Belarus, in Minsk, and I moved to Poland upon graduation from university. And I've been living in Poland for so long that I'm already thinking in Polish, and it's not very easy for me to speak in Russian today. Yet I'll try. In 2007, I graduated from the Belarusian National Technical University. I'm a civil engineer. In 2018, I became a certified recovery assistant after a course organized by Leonardo Foundation in Warsaw. In 2019, I graduated from the Feng Shui Academy in Wrocław. Here are my certificates. So I've been a certified recovery assistant as of 2018. And in 5 years, I worked in 3 different institutions that have to do with mental health. I began working there right after my internship with the Institute of Psychiatry and Neurology in Warsaw. I also worked with Psychiatric Hospital Drewnica. There I was part of the coordination team coordinating outpatient support, and now I work at Wolski Mental Health Center in Warsaw. As you may have understood, I'm a big aficionado of tea, and I even authored a tea poetry book. I also like dancing and listening to music, and my other hobbies are photographing and filming. I can't imagine my life without traveling. I like spending my time in the nature, and you see me drinking tea wherever I am. Although I'm a bit crazy, I am in a process of recovery continuously. I have learned to accept myself of the way I am, and I'm not suffering anymore because of the experience that I lived through during my mental disorder episodes. In 2010, I was hospitalized for the first time. I was in a really bad condition back then. But I recovered quite quickly, but after 4 years of life without medication, another crisis transpired, and in 2016 I found myself in the hospital again. I acquired valuable experience that helps me a lot in my work with my clients and their needs and dears. And my advice is often sought. Psychiatrists and psychologists also take my opinion into account. Let me talk about recovery right now. Psychotherapy is very important for me. Without it, I would not be able to function the way I do it now. After my first crisis, I was receiving therapy for 2 years. After my second crisis, I've been in permanent contact with my psychologist and my uh, psychiatrist. I always recommend to psychological assistance to my clients, although not all of them like it. A major breakthrough in my life took place in 2017. 6 months after hospitalization, I started taking the recovery assistance course funded by Leonardo Foundation. It was a partly therapeutical course for 30, and it lasted 6 months. After that, there was an internship of 6 months, and after the internship, I started working where I had my internship before. It was far from easy at the beginning, but I was looking at how others were working in our team, and I had to construe everything I was doing myself because no one knew back then what recovery assistance were to do. Theory was okay, but in practice it was a bit different, and I really had to do a lot of work myself. Now I'm focusing on group sessions for my clients. Uh, And when I was beginning, part of the staff at the hospital were supportive, but others were apprehensive. By now, I have worked in 3 different institutions at the Institute of Psychiatry and Neurology. I work for the ward for affective disorder patients. I do group sessions there for the patients, and I organize some leisure for the patients. I also do individual counseling. During the COVID pandemic, I was also buying things for them or helped them to solve some problems because COVID definitely affected the performance of the entire ward. And the other project at the Drevnitsa hospital, I was working at a coordination center in one of the districts of Warsaw. People were coming over, those with mental problems, and I counseled them individually and also participated in group sessions for the relatives of these recipients, and we also held self support groups for parents. And I also work for the mental health center in Volya. I'm a member of two teams there. I work at the psychiatric ward there and also on a mobile team that assists persons with mental problems. We site visit them at their homes and render support. Let me tell you more about the peer assistance courses in Poland. Four different organizations hold such courses. I participated in the course held by Leonardo Foundation. It is not, this foundation is not active any longer, but the three others are, it's the Institute of Open Dialogue, uh, Open the Door Association, and AXEN organization that partners with a German institution. Here are some numbers for those who like them. This is information about the courses. Mostly the courses are free of charge, although occasionally participants have to pay 1,330 euro for the course. The course may last 6 months or 12 months. 16 hours of intense work during weekends. A group usually features 20 persons. In order to get a certificate, one has to attend at least 90% of all sessions. In order to get a certificate of recovery assistant, one has to undergo an additional internship of at least 100 hours. My internship was 240 hours. Now in Poland, there are approximately 300 recovery assistants. 70 of them are working, 15 of them in Warsaw. And such courses purportedly began in 2013, but the course that I intended was the first one, after which help with employment was provided. The courses feature different topics. Here you see the list of the topics. Some emphasize cooperation with the medical staff or on knowledge about mental disorders. Other organizations rather focus on the lived experience of each of us in our adversity, and they address the possibilities of applying such experience in practice. In May of this year, the recovery assistance became an officially recognized profession or specialty in accordance with the relevant index, with the description of the functions to be performed by the recovery assistants. There to motivate individual to get back into their social, to seek jobs, to support their autonomous lives. Recovery assistants are also to provide consultations regarding coping on the basis of own experience of post-crisis recovery. And we also propagate information about healthy lifestyle.
Ассистент выздоровления может работать после окончания курса. Это прежде всего, конечно, психиатрические больницы, центры психического здоровья, психиатрические диспансеры, клубы пациента, дома самопомощи и другие организации, которые занимаются поддержкой людей с психическими заболеваниями. И чтобы участвовать в таком курсе, сейчас есть такое требование, во-первых, удокументировано часов.
You have to undergo 75 hours of therapy documented, plus everyone who enlists for the course should have his own psychotic experience, such as in schizophrenic or bipolar settings. This is a new requirement. Earlier on, anyone who, say, visited a psychiatrist once in his lifetime could undergo this course and become a recovery assistant. No longer. I'm working at the mental health center, and mental health centers have their own requirements for recovery assistance. They employ, this is a list, as you can see. Well, everything should be geared towards supporting their, so to speak, warden. I attend all the briefings, meetings, do group sessions for patients and their relatives. I also sort of lead support groups. I try to share my own recovery experience and then try to help understand what can be done in various specific situations. And so far as I know, where a person can seek support. If you ask me, I believe support provided by recovery assistance is essential, and in order to help this, so to speak, occupation develop, certain conditions need to be met. And let me, by the way, ask you right now, are there many professionals who would be willing to support recovery assistance in their settings? Great. I am happy to see so many hands raised in response to my query, and this means that people indeed are willing to engage in this type of collaboration. Apart from this willingness, it is important to clearly define recovery assistance, so to speak, job description. They would also benefit by having adequate compensation and, well, a room for supervision if possible. But of course, some needs of this kind need to wait for some time. As far as I am concerned, I'm quite happy with what I am doing. To the left, you can see my boss, Lukasz Sitsko, a psychiatrist who gives me a certificate, an award. He was my first employer in this new capacity of mine. I also am very happy in a partnership with my girlfriend. We've been together for 5 years now. And I have, enough of free time in order to just meet my friends, to travel, and to self-fulfill. So a healthy individual should be able to work, to love, and to just spend time, as Freud was mentioned. With this, I am done, but I'd be happy to take any questions from you because there's still time. If some questions will have to be answered in the future, please note my contact information on this last slide.